What? What's going on? No matter how many times I try, my apartment key won't work. I've just returned from a business trip and find myself completely locked out. I try to reach Randy, who should be home, but there is no response. Peeking through the keyhole, I see that the apartment is empty. I'm sure I'm at the right place. So what's going on? Where's my stuff? Where did Randy disappear to? I rush to my in-laws' house, and Randy is there. As soon as I arrive, Randy says to me, "Who are you?" What? Speechless, I see Randy smirking triumphantly. What awaited me was an ending I could never have imagined. My name is Shireen, 32 years old. I am a working housewife, living with Randy. We've been married for 3 years. Originally, Randy was a colleague at work, and we were fierce competitors. He was a good rival, but also my biggest supporter. It didn't take long for us to start dating, and we got engaged after a year. But there was one thing that worried me about getting married. It was something Randy said as we were about to register our marriage. "Shireen, I'm thinking of quitting my job after we get married." "What? Quitting your job? Why would you do that?" "Actually, I've been thinking about this for a while. I want to use my experience to start my own company." "Your own company?" "Yeah, I want to start a business and do something bigger. So please, let me give it my best shot." He bows his head, and even I'm at a loss. I can feel his sincerity, but I don't know what to do. I want to support Randy as his biggest supporter, but quitting his job to start a business is a big risk. We're married now, and I want to have kids someday. Is it necessary to give up our stable life now? I couldn't express my feelings to Randy. In the end, Randy quit his job as soon as we got married. He used all of our savings to start a staffing agency. People say, "Wow, Randy is amazing. Aren't you proud your husband is a CEO?" But I don't feel that way at all. In fact, my female colleagues seem to feel the same way, especially my good friend Marilyn. Starting a business right after getting married is too risky. I agree with you, Marilyn. I wanted to say no, but I couldn't. Be careful, Shireen. Randy tends to push things through based on the mood. I know. I've seen him make mistakes at work because of that. You'll have to keep an eye on him, Shireen. I will. I'll listen to him regularly and do what I can. But the truth is, I've only ever done my current job, so the world of entrepreneurship is completely unknown to me. Why did Randy suddenly want to start a business? And why a staffing agency? I asked, but Randy never gave me a clear answer. Though Randy had started his own company, it seemed he hadn't thought things through. He hired several employees right off the bat, but with little work coming in, the labor costs were skyrocketing. In today's world, there are countless staffing agencies online. So, offering face-to-face staffing services was, to put it bluntly, reckless. Randy used to be competent at his job, but ever since he quit, his ideas seemed to be running dry. Sure enough, the company ran out of funds in no time, and employees started quitting. Finally, unable to pay salaries, Randy approached me. "Shireen, can you lend me $20,000? "What? 20,000? Do you even realize how much money that is?" "I do, but what choice do I have? I have to pay the employees." "That may be true, but that's not my problem." "You are my wife, and you are saying it's not your problem?" "What?" "You married me, committing to a lifetime together, right? So you should help me out when I'm in trouble." Randy spoke as if he had done nothing wrong. I couldn't find the words to respond to his cold, disdainful gaze. For the next few days, Randy kept demanding the $20,000, adding insults like, "This happened because you didn't support me as a wife. It's all your fault. You need to cover the financial shortfall." I was berated daily and even faced some physical aggression. As days went by, I started to believe that maybe it was my fault. A year into our marriage, Randy's company was on the brink of bankruptcy. By this time, my savings had dwindled significantly, mostly spent on keeping Randy's company afloat. Still, Randy didn't consider shutting down the company. Instead, he turned to his parents for help. My father-in-law is an average office worker, and my mother-in-law is a homemaker. They don't have much to spare, but they couldn't ignore their desperate son. In the end, they mortgaged their house to lend him the money. When I heard this, even I was shocked. Would any parent go this far, even for their child? If Randy's company went under, they'd lose their home. My fears came true, and within just 6 months, Randy's company went bankrupt. We were left with nothing but debt. After this, Randy seemed to lose all motivation to work. He started spending his days lazing around the house. I couldn't take it anymore and confronted him several times. Randy, look, we're not exactly rolling in cash either. I don't have any savings. Can you please find a job? What? How can you be so heartless? I'm devastated after losing my company. This is not the time for that. We owe money to your parents. They'll be fine. Their house is collateral. Do you even understand what that means? If things continue like this, they'll lose their house. It doesn't matter to us. My parents are old. They might as well be useful for once. I can't believe this. I never thought you'd be this kind of person. From that point on, cracks began to appear in our marriage. It's been about 6 months since Randy's company went bankrupt, and he shows no signs of finding a job. He's doing day labor once a week and spending all the money on himself. I've been dipping into my savings and cutting corners to make ends meet. Then, one day, during a break at work, my mother-in-law called. Shireen, sorry for the sudden call, but I need to talk to you. Hello, mother-in-law, what's going on? Could you lend us some money? What? If we can't pay back the loan by the end of the month, we'll lose our house. It seemed my worst fears were coming true. I told my mother-in-law, let me think about it. I've already talked to Randy, but he said, I don't have any money. If you lose the house, so be it. What? Randy said that? What should we do, Shireen? We're going to lose our home. Calm down. I have an idea. After hanging up, I called my father, who answered immediately. Hey, Dad, it's Shireen. Long time no talk. How are you? I'm fine, but there's a problem. What happened? Randy's company went bankrupt, and now his parents might lose their house. What? Why? Well, after explaining the situation, my father agreed to help financially. Even though Randy was clearly at fault, my dad said, he's the man you chose, and didn't blame me. My father is a wealthy real estate investor, and I've never had to worry about money. The rental income alone is a considerable amount of money. So, to be honest, I never had any problems making ends meet until I got married. But when I got a job, I decided to be financially independent and refused any support from him. And Randy ruined all of that. I felt guilty, but I had no choice but to accept my father's help to save my in-laws. I kept it a secret from Randy and transferred the money to my in-laws. Why didn't I tell Randy? I've only told him that my dad is a real estate agent. If he found out about my father's wealth, I feared he'd change his attitude and start demanding money. If that happened, it would be the end of us. If we are going to continue living together, I don't want to grow to resent Randy. That's why I have to keep my father's wealth a secret from him. To avoid hurting my beloved parents and in-laws, I chose to continue my relationship with Randy. When I told my mother-in-law about my father's financial help, she said, Are you sure? You and your father saved us. It's fine. I'd rather avoid any unnecessary drama. All right, if you say so, We'll pay back the money, even if it takes time. Don't worry, I'll help with that too. Thank you, Sharon. You've been a lifesaver. I could hear the tremor in mother-in-law's voice over the phone. I was glad that I was able to help her, knowing that she had been pushed into such a corner. I was glad I could help, but Randy's behavior was getting worse. He was increasingly absent from home, and when I asked where he was, he'd say, "None of your business." Yet he still demanded money for groceries. Then I had to go on a business trip for 3 days. I was worried but also relieved. 3 days without seeing Randy's face. I had married him out of love, but now his presence was a burden. 3 days later, I returned from my trip. From the airport, I headed home with a gloomy feeling. I should have been eager to get home, but the thought of seeing Randy again filled me with dread. When I tried to unlock the door, something felt off. What's going on? No matter how many times I tried, the key wouldn't work. Randy wasn't responding to my calls. It seemed like I was locked out. What should I do? If Randy is not home, I can't get in. And it wasn't just that. Peering through the keyhole, I saw that the apartment was empty. The house shouldn't be wrong. But why? Where's my stuff? Where did Randy go? Panicked, I forgot to call the management company and called my parents instead, but they didn't answer. So I decided to go to my in-laws' house, where I could also give them the souvenirs I'd bought. When I arrived, Randy was there. "Randy, what are you doing here?" Mother-in-law spoke first. He showed up out of blue, asking to stay for a few days. "What? Randy, what's going on? I couldn't get into our apartment." Randy chuckled and looked down at me. "Who are you?" "What?" I was at a loss for words, but Randy wore a smack grin on his face. Still, I mustered the courage to speak. "What are you talking about, Randy? What about the house keys?" "Isn't it obvious? I've already moved out that house, haha." "What?" "Oh, and by the way, we're already divorced. So we are nothing to each other now. I've got a new girlfriend, so you should just go." "A new girlfriend?" Caught off guard, my mind went blank as Randy shoved his phone screen in my face. There he was, hugging a young woman, both of them smiling happily. In that moment, everything felt meaningless, and I lost the will to think. Fine, whatever. This marriage was over a long time ago. I slumped to the floor, and Randy looked down at me, grinning. Then, with a loud smack, Randy fell to the ground. His mother-in-law had slapped him. "What the— Mom, what are you doing?" "What have you done, young man?" "What do you mean, what have I done? I just left a useless wife and I'm planning to marry my new girlfriend." His mother-in-law started to tremble, her face turning red. "Randy, do you really not know?" "Know what?" "That you have this life because of Sharon." "What?" "When your business was failing and this house was about to be foreclosed, Sharon asked her father for a loan." "My father-in-law did— what?" Randy was visibly shocked, probably never expecting this. His mother-in-law didn't hold back. "And yet, how much trouble do you need to cause others to be satisfied? Sharon even helped us with repayments." "No way. Sharon did all that for me?" "You betrayed such a wonderful person. If you have time to be infatuated with another woman, why don't you work a little? Aren't you ashamed of burdening your wife and parents at your age? You are no longer our son. Leave now, and you are paying back all the debt yourself." "But, Mom!" Tears streamed down Randy's face as he began to plead, clearly shaken by his mother's words. As his father grabbed his arm and started dragging him away, Randy turned to me for help. Shireen, I was wrong. Please help me out here. Help you out? How? Just pay off my debt for now. Then we can start over as a couple, okay? You've already filed for divorce, haven't you? Well, we can reapply for a marriage license. I shot Randy an icy glare, colder than ever before. Then, as if to clear up my past grudge, I clearly said this. Don't be ridiculous. Reapply for a marriage license? How selfish can you be? I've been busting my butt to support you, and you betray not just me, but your own parents, and you even had an affair. No, it's not like that. I'll break up with her, so… I don't care. Your apologies are worthless now. I was a fool to ever try to help you. Go ahead, remarry your mistress for all I care. But know this, I will never forgive you. May you grovel for the rest of your life, burdened by massive debt. Shireen, wait, please. His pleas for mercy were cut short as his father-in-law threw him out of the house. We locked the door behind him, banning him from ever coming back. Later, I contacted a lawyer to demand repayment for the money I had lent him. Given that Randy's failed business also left him in debt, the total amount was astronomical. His parents disowned him and removed him from their will. So even if something happens to them, Randy won't inherit a dime. In the end, Randy lost both a place to live and people to rely on. Even his mistress grew tired of him and disappeared. Serves him right. This is the fate of a man who lived only for himself. As for me, I moved back in with my parents after the divorce. They're concerned for me, fresh out of a failed marriage, but to be honest, I have no regrets. I have a job and a loving family who are well and by my side. That alone makes me feel truly blessed. From now on, I want to live my life to the fullest for the people who truly care about me.